Last month was the 50th anniversary of the demolition of the Pilot Butte Inn.
Many people in Bend, if you run into a longtime Bendite, eventually the Pilot Butte Inn will come up, and it will be a travesty that they still hold in their hearts painfully to this day, and with really good reason.
Really? I should probably figure out what I don't know about the Pilot Butte Inn.
It was the place where everything that was anything was happening. The population was exploding, all kinds of people were moving here, and folks like the Emblem Club and all of the movers and shakers in town were really investing a lot of money, and they were thinking very large. And one of those people who shared that vision was a man by the name of Philip Brooks, distant relative of the Brooks-Scanlon family.
Now, the Pilot Butte Inn was all the rage when it came to life in 1917. In fact, over the years, it even garnered some presidential-level attention.
Famously, Eleanor Roosevelt stayed there. Herbert Hoover, after he left office, who was an Oregonian and loved to come through town fishing, he stayed there.
And the first place to light up the airwaves in Central Oregon happened right between its walls.
The first radio station in Bend, KBND, they actually attached the radio tower to the Pilot Butte Inn, and they broadcast from the basement of the inn.
But sadly, the only thing that never changes is change. And slowly, the cracks in the foundation began to show up.
Of course, Shovel and Hickson closes in 1950, so the economy is going down and down and down and down, and it's only going to continue to slide downward into the 80s.
But there was a group of forward thinkers who raised some money to try to save the Pilot Butte Inn. They came up with an idea that is kind of similar to what the River House is today.
The group trying to save it engaged a University of Oregon architect student who did a huge plan and even built a 3D model of what it would look like to not only save the hotel, but build a little convention center off to the north of it and create this whole new complex.
But sadly, history had other plans for the once thriving icon. When the timber boom went bust, so did the Pilot Butte Inn.
So while there was immense vision in building the Pilot Butte Inn in 1917, the economy of the early 70s didn't support a vision to keep it going forward. And in 1973, they started demolition of the building. They played Auld Lang Syne the day that it started coming down.
Now, one can always hope that with pain comes a valuable lesson as well. And in the case of the Pilot Butte Inn, its fate was to become a rallying cry for future historic preservation.
But without question, the loss of the Pilot Butte Inn in 1973 means that many other places were saved, because really quickly after that, what we know as the Good Willie Allen Rademacher House, where the Commons on the edge of Muir Pond, that house was saved. The Boys and Girls Club was saved. The Railroad Depot was saved. All of these other places then took on new importance for folks. And even today, when a historic structure, is perhaps threatened, people will go, remember the Pilot Butte Inn. We don't want to lose this.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elness.